answering all your questions which you have asked me on Instagram. I have not done a sit down video in forever, but we're back with a Q&A today. Honestly, I've just really been loving vlogging, especially because the weather's getting really nice here. I've actually got quite a lot of questions to answer, so let's just get on with it. So the first question is, when did you decide ballet was going to be your career, and when did you start taking it very seriously? I remember I did my first competition, like festival that I used to do, and it was just a ballet solo. I got first place. I got into like the bursary section, so at the end of the festival a selection of dances will be picked out to go into like a bursary, which is sort of like an end show of the festival. I just remember that point in my life where I was like, okay, I want to be a ballet dancer. I do find it weird how just certain memories like stick out to you. I remember going to my nan's, whether it was at the day of the festival or maybe it was the day after, and I just remember like sitting on her little outside area bit and thinking to myself like, this is what I want to do. That really does stand out for me. So yeah, I think it was then. I did start taking it seriously sort of after that point really. I started dancing young and it was always just sort of a hobby for me. Like, I absolutely loved it. Just as time went on, as the years went by, I just got more and more serious. I started off only like dancing once a night, and then yeah, it just did ramp up a lot and I started going more times a week. And then yeah, after that competition, things just started getting more serious from there really. Do you have more time now at a company compared to full-time dance training? This one really depends on when it is in the season, because you can have a time in a company where there's so many shows up and coming and you're rehearsing a lot. But there's also other times where, especially during this COVID period, where there's no shows scheduled. So our days are a lot shorter when there's obviously no shows. I know for a fact in company life, I do start later than I did in training. In training, I would usually start at, I think it was 8:45, and now if it's a mixed class, then it'll be 10:30. But usually we do our classes separately, so boys and girls are separate. So my class would start at around 11:45. So yeah, that's quite a big difference. But when there's a ballet coming up pretty soon, we usually do rehearse for quite a long time. It usually won't surpass sort of 6 o'clock. In full-time training, we would usually always finish around 4. In full-time training, you always have a timetable of what's going to happen, and that usually doesn't change. You will always start at the same time, but also you will usually finish always around the same time, especially in the first and second year. Third year is a bit different, especially at Central. Also, we would do a Saturday morning class, and then we'd have the whole of Saturday free and Sunday. In a company, usually our performances are on a Sunday or sometimes a Saturday. So if there is a performance on a Sunday, then we will work through Monday to Sunday. Then we would have the Monday off. So it really does just depend on what shows are coming up. And also, I've only ever worked in a company whilst COVID has been around. So I feel like if things were like fully into swing and we were working towards a lot of shows, then I think 100% there would be more free time and full-time training. But obviously, because of the situation where the theatres have had to close a few times, I've obviously had quite a lot of free time because we haven't been doing really intense rehearsals like we usually would. This is a fun question. Who is your favourite person that has DM'd you? Love your videos. Thank you so much. Who is my favourite person who's DM'd me? Oh my gosh. If we're like talking my favourite people, then that's got to be my mum and dad. Like, they DM me and they're my best friends. So yeah, I'm gonna say my mum and dad. High burn or low burn? Well, this is a good question because I've been through phases, you see. When I was younger in sort of secondary school, always a high burn, like I never did a low burn. And then it's weird, at Central there was sort of like a phase where, I don't know, weird, like even in a ballet school there was like trends. Low buns started to make an appearance, so sort of, I think it was in second year to third year I was really into the low bun. And just now recently I've really been liking my high buns. I don't know, but honestly I decide whether I'm going to have a low bun or high bun depending on what I'm wearing, because some outfits just really don't suit a high bun. Like a really classical look with like a lace leotard I feel would look so much nicer with a low bun. Recently I have been doing a high bun a lot. I've been just liking how it looks. Audition tips for vocational school and how to choose one. Okay, so audition tips. I would say the biggest one is to perform and to smile and sort of like show your personality through your dancing. Because I think schools really do look for that. I think they like to see your passion through your dancing. That is what I did. I tried to perform as much as I could. I think it did really help me. Also, I think try and like work on your like quality of movement and your artistry. Because if you have a really nice quality of movement, or you can dance in a way that's different to other people, then I think that would really make you stand out as well. Also, wear like a leotard which you feel like confident in, that suits you. And maybe if you wanted to, I don't know, add a little flower if you wanted to, or just something which the panel could like pick you out from. They could say like, oh yeah, and the girl with blah blah blah. But I think the main thing is just to be you and just do your best, because that is literally all you can do. And if it doesn't end up working out, then obviously that place was just not for you, and that's fine. As for how to choose one, I was really lucky that my mum and dad helped me find all the different vocational schools, and I'm also really into sort of musical theatre and jazz sort of styles, so I did audition for the musical theatre colleges as well. So I think first of all it's applying for as many as you can, but not too many, because you don't want to like overload yourself. Because it is a lot of work. Definitely go for all the ones which you could see yourself enjoying and going to. So once all your auditions are done, then you can see sort of which offers you got, and I'm sure there's always going to be one school which you've got your heart set to. And like especially for me, my school which I have always just looked up towards and wanted to go to was Central. So I was very lucky that I got offered my place at Central, because as soon as I got in, I just knew that that was where I was going. Central was my overall dream school, but also because I was very into musical theatre, Erdang was also really a big dream school for me. And yeah, I was lucky enough to receive a place at Erdang too, actually with a full scholarship. That was a very, very difficult decision to make, because obviously I'd been offered my all-time dream school to go down the classical route, but then I also had an offer at such a renowned, huge school like Erdang. But I just knew in my heart that Central was the place for me, and so I think the best advice I can give you is you've just got to follow your gut instinct. That will be the right path. Whatever you choose will be the right place for you. Also, I'd really recommend doing as much research as you can at each school. We collated like a little folder of all the different vocational schools. We sort of got all the information about them all, so we had it all there. That was really helpful. What does it actually feel like performing a ballet on stage? So my first classical ballet was Don Quixote, and I didn't perform it that long ago actually. It was in, I think it was November, no, when was it? It was, what month were we in? Oh, it was in March, I believe. Yeah, March. And I don't think I've ever felt that feeling ever before. Do you know what, it's actually really hard to explain how it felt, but especially in that ballet, which It's honestly so much fun doing the bits which I was doing. I just absolutely loved when like the curtains opened and we were like all there with our fans, and it felt just incredible. Like I could not stop the smile on my face. Like honestly, just can't even like put it into words what it feels like. But especially a ballet like that, we do this bit in the line where we've got our fans and we go and we're doing it all together, and it's just like gives me life. Like I just love it. So yeah, that's what it feels like. How many point shoes do you go through in a season? So let me just work this out. How many months is there in a season? Okay, so at the minute I'm going through, see again, it really does just depend on how many shows we're performing in that season. Obviously because of COVID we haven't been performing as much, so I haven't been needing to sew as many shoes. So I'd say last season maybe about 20, like the season I'm in now is about 20-ish, and that's sort of 2 pairs a month. But when shows are into full swing, I usually would go through maybe 1 a week, so that would be, so maybe about 40 pairs a season. It does just depend, but I am now like rotating my point shoes, so they are lasting a lot longer. I used to just wear 1 pair and then wait for them to die and then go on to the next one, but I found like rotating them really helps. How many hours do you train a week? I need to get my calculator back out. I'm gonna give you a figure based on when we're in normal times, so no COVID. Okay, so I've worked out around 30 hours a week. That's class and rehearsals, and I've worked out if we're working a 6-day week, so with 1 day off. It does just depend on how fast we rehearse, or if there's multiple ballets we're rehearsing, or whether there's just one, or if it's a new ballet, obviously the rehearsals are going to be longer. If it's one that we've done multiple times, then it won't take as long. All these things just come into account. It really does just vary. I would say it does range from maybe 17, 18 hours to 30 hours. It really does just depend. If we're talking just for training as in class, then I would say around sort of 10 hours a week. Like rehearsals can vary between an hour to 4 hours. It really does just change. What's the best place you've visited? Okay, so my all-time favourite place ever is always going to be London. I can't even explain how I feel when I'm in London. I just like, I feel like I am meant to be there. I just feel like that's my place. I just love everything about it. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favourite places. And then also the best place, Sarasota, Florida. I went there with my mum, and my gosh, that place was beautiful. I loved America so much. I just loved the vibe of it. Also Turkey, we go there on holiday, somewhere called ballet, and there's like massive resort hotels all along the beach, and it's honestly just incredible. It's a different world, honestly. It's just amazing. If your company gave you a surprise 3-day break, what would you do? Ooh. Well, if it was sunny, then I would be on that beach like ASAP, because there's just not a better feeling than just lying there. The sun's hitting your face, you can hear the waves, and you just forget about everything. So yeah, I'd say that, and we'd probably get like, I don't know, a nice lunch on the beach or something like that, a nice frappe. If it wasn't the best weather, then another one of my favourite things to do is to go to like a cafe and get like a coffee, or Starbucks. Love going to Starbucks. Or I'd probably say going to the shopping mall. That's another thing that I might do. So yeah, there are a few things. What was the last photo you took? Ooh. Let's see. Ah! There was a picture of my smoothie bowl earlier. Smoothie bowls. Don't know if you can see. Yeah. What's the most interesting building you've been in? I'd probably say Sky Garden in London. It's very interesting in there because there's like so many plants. Yeah, love that. And also the Shard, because you literally sit on the toilet and it's just like a clear glass window, so you can sit on the toilet and just look at the view. So like if a plane like happens to fly past, then they're in for a treat. What are you interested in that most people aren't? There's quite a few things actually. I'm really into sort of hospital programs, like, or like insights into hospitals basically. I don't know, it's just a weird thing which I like. I'm interested in it. I'm not quite sure why. I'm also really interested in prisons. I know that might sound weird. But honestly, I do just have a really big interest for like documentaries on prisons, or like crime documentaries, or like investigations. I just find it really interesting sort of seeing what that person's like, and yeah, I like to work out what I think myself. Also, recently I've really been interested in robots. I don't know if you've seen, but there's this robot called Sophia, and she looks like a human, and they've made her to like help with things, like she's gonna help in the healthcare system. Yeah, I just find that really clever. And also we're watching the series Westworld, which is that sort of thing, and yeah, I'm just really interested in that. So yeah, that's a few things which I'm interested in. Random things. What game have you spent the most hours playing? When I was younger, I used to be obsessed with Sims. I had all like the expansion packs and all that stuff. Also, I've spent quite a long time on Candy Crush, and also my game Design Home, which I absolutely love. Is there anything else? Oh, also me and Dave play Rummy Cub, which is like a board game, every day pretty much, and we love that. What video always makes you laugh no matter how often you watch it? Okay, there's this video. It just makes me laugh thinking about it. And it's a video of my dad, and we're in Turkey, and you just had to be there to see it basically. But he's like got the lilo, he's like standing on the ridge of the pool, and he like says something really funny, and it's like an inside joke thing, and then he like just jumps in the pool like on the lilo, and he just like completely falls off it. Honestly, it's so funny. When was the coldest you have ever been? The coldest I've ever been has been on there's been two shoots which I have been so cold on. One of them was my shoot here when it was snowing. It was snowing one morning, and me and Dave decided to go take dance shoots in the snow, as you do. And honestly, my fingers went completely numb. Like I was so scared that I was getting frostbite. So that was one time. And then also a shoot with John, and it was in York, and I was honestly so cold. It was freezing, but one of the dance mums brought us a hot chocolate, which was so cute. What was the last song you sang along to? Well, I was playing music earlier, and I was singing, but what was it? I think it was either Billie Eilish's new song, Power. I absolutely love singing to that song. The song is stunning. And Friday, if you watch my vlog, maybe it was like 2 vlogs ago, or maybe 1 vlog ago. Yeah, I was just singing It's Friday Again, that song. And yeah, just every weekend I just have to whack it on to just get the weekend vibes going. It's a tune. What's been the hardest thing about becoming a professional? Hardest thing, I would say, like, obviously the industry has its highlights, obviously, which I've mentioned in the previous questions, like the side of performing and how that makes me feel, but the industry is just a very difficult industry. I think like getting the job in the first place as a professional ballet dancer is just extremely difficult, especially during this time, obviously, because there's hardly any jobs going around. The theatres have been shut for so long. Also, having to move away to a different country has been hard. I was already quite used to living away from home because obviously I lived in London for my training. Although moving to a different country has been hard, I have been used to it. So that's definitely helped, but I would say that is one of the hard things too, because I've had to sort of adapt to a completely different country, so a lot of things are just completely different. I would say, obviously in a company, you take class to warm up also for yourself to improve. Obviously in training, you take class to learn new things, and obviously you have the support of the teachers to help you progress. In a company, you don't have that, so you have to give yourself corrections and learn as you go along with yourself. So I'd say that's quite a difficult thing. How many hours per day do you practice? So we have usually classes an hour and a half, and then rehearsals will just generally vary depending on what ballets are coming up, but usually I'd say the average is between 2 to 4 hours. For you, how was the pandemic? Has it been a positive experience or a knockback? So for me, the pandemic started when I was in my 3rd year at Central. It seems so long ago now. At first, it affected me and my year because we wasn't able to tour the country as Ballet Central. So if you don't know, if you train at Central, then in your 3rd year you tour around the UK, we form a little company. So we wasn't able to do that, which was so gutting, but there was literally nothing we could do. So yeah, at the beginning it wasn't great, but then obviously I had the chance to come home and spend so much time with my family, which I wouldn't have been able to get if it wasn't for the pandemic. So that I'm truly grateful for, because also my brother was home, and so it was all of us together, which it hasn't been like that for years. I did find in that time I personally worked on a lot of things which I was struggling with. So for example, balancing. After the time where we was doing online school, I did improve quite a lot of aspects of my technique. So in terms of that, that was positive. I was extremely lucky that I was offered my contract during the pandemic, which is not the norm. So for me, overall, the experience really wasn't a knockback at all. It wasn't a negative thing for me. When did you start dancing? So I started dancing when I was 4. I believe I started when I was 3. I think I cried a bit, I think because I don't know, it was a new environment. My mum and dad weren't there. So yeah, then my mum took me back at 4 and just absolutely loved it. What is the best part of being a professional dancer and the worst? The best part is that you are being paid to do what you love and what you've always done. Also, for me, the performing aspect of it, there's nothing like it, honestly. I love to perform. So yeah, that's definitely a highlight of the job for me. And the worst? I'd probably say, for me personally, it has been the injury side, because obviously the job is physical, so you are going to get your niggles. So yeah, I'd say that. I'm 9 years old now. Any advice for me that you wish someone else would tell you when you were 9? Personally, there's not anything which I am like, oh, I wish I had been told that. I think something which I would say now is just enjoy your life. Like, especially at such a young age, at 9, please don't be harsh on yourself. Make sure that you enjoy what you're doing. But yeah, I would just say, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, keep going for it. Don't let anyone tell you that you are not good enough, that you don't fit the ideal for that sort of industry. Yeah, just believe in yourself also, I would say. And then the last question I have is, does Romanian ballet have its own style? I don't think it has its own style as such. I know our classes are quite Vagana based, so a lot of use of the head and the body. It's similar to the style I was doing at Central. So yeah, I would just say that it's what I was used to, with just a bit more head use and upper body really. That was my last question. So thank you so much to everyone who has watched. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye.